Morning, peeps. Another early start, another busy day. So let's crack on. Don't forget as well, please, to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to join the Patreon, the link is in the description. I don't talk about anything boxing related in the Patreon, by the way. A lot of people ask that question. Just because I talk boxing here. So just talk about other stuff. It was nice as well to speak to a few of you guys. I say a few of you, a lot of you yesterday on Zoom and Skype. I think in the end I spoke to around 40 something of you. It's quite a lot, isn't it? I am going to try and do some more this week if I can, if I got some time. That was quite a few hours yesterday. So if I've got some time, I will do some more this week. But I will try and get around to those I've missed. A lot of you obviously sent in requests to have a nice little chit chat. So thank you for sending in requests, and apologies if I couldn't get round to you. It's just that it's my fault, really. I said I was going to speak to people for like 10 minutes. I think I spoke to some people for like 30, 40 minutes. I just got carried away speaking. So apologies that I couldn't get round to you, but we will do another round of those later. All right, let's see what's happened or going on in the boxing world that we can have a chit chat about. All right, let's start with this one. Chisora, I'm better than DILLIAN WHYTE. I'll push for another fight. Interesting. That rhymed as well. I think if you're DILLIAN WHYTE, you think that chapter's closed, right? You ended the last fight with a vicious knockout. You think you're done and you're looking forward. You're not looking backwards. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to Chisora. I'm a big Chisora fan, but if you're DILLIAN WHYTE, you're chasing those guys above you right now. You're chasing a Joshua rematch. You want a shot at possibly Tyson Fury if, you know, the WBC mandatory goes that way. Deontay Wilder, you're looking at those types of fights, right? Maybe even a Joseph Parker rematch, just because Parker's higher ranked than Chisora. So I don't know if DILLIAN WHYTE is wanting that fight. If you're Chisora, you're going to think you won the first fight. Chisora did win the first fight for me. It wasn't a robbery or anything like that. I just thought he won the first fight. And the second fight, I'm pretty sure, could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure he was ahead on the judges' scorecards up until the knockout. And I remember watching that fight, and obviously he got deducted a point, didn't he? And he had to it made him kind of rush things a bit. I don't know, because of the point deduction, and then he got clipped. I don't know. I think, again, if you're DILLIAN WHYTE, that chapter's closed. If you're Chisora, I can see why you want that fight. I mean, I can see why it makes sense for the fight to happen, just because financially, it's still a big fight, isn't it? Like, people would still tune in. Those guys seem to have that kind of sway over the public where we have an invested interest in both of them. They just remind me of each other. We know the press conferences will be interesting. The fight will be interesting. So, I mean, they can still make money off each other. But, I mean, if you're Chisora, just concentrate on Usyk. If you're DILLIAN WHYTE, beat Povetkin and then chase the big boys. That's what you should do. What have we got here? David Lemieux, staying in shape, hopes to return very soon. How old is David Lemieux? Let's have a look. I say this because I just don't know if his time's done. Like, it feels to me as though his time as a contender at 160 or 168 is done. What, 31? I just feel like David Lemieux right now is just a solid gatekeeper, and a solid one. There's no shame in being a good gatekeeper, but that's my thought process when I think of David Lemieux. I think if he was to fight anyone legit, he's losing. So anyone sort of ranked in and around sort of the top 7 or 8, I expect them to beat David Lemieux. He'll put up a good fight just because he's got that punch power, right? I mean, I remember when Rosado was supposed to go there and beat him, and he beat Rosado, didn't he? So he can beat those type of guys, but the best out there, he's not beaten, right? We saw what Billy Joe Saunders did to him. We saw what Golovkin did to him. Although for me, that was a prime Golovkin. But I don't know. He's just a good gatekeeper, which isn't a bad thing. It just means I don't think he's good enough to beat the top guys. I don't think. I wouldn't mind seeing him versus Chris Eubank Jr., you know. because Chris Eubank Jr. for me is just below the top guys as well. I wouldn't mind saying that. And I think that's a decent name for Chris Eubank Jr. Actually, you go to Canada, possibly, right? Beat David Lemieux on his own patch. And then I think it's a good bridge to, again, the gatekeeper thing. It's a good bridge to the other guys. But I think Eubank Jr., with his ego, would think that he's already past that. Come on, you know what Eubank Jr. is like. What's this? VOZDYK wants another world title, then BERCHELT rematch. Yeah, maybe stay away from BERCHELT for the time being. As for another world title, yeah, I think VOZDYK's a very good fighter. I don't think because he lost to BERCHELT that means he's no longer a top world level boxer, because he certainly is. Has there been any announcement as to who is going to fight for the belt that Canelo vacated? Because he could fight for that, right? Or match up against Bivol. I know Bivol wants the Callum Smith fight or a unification against BERCHELT, but neither look like they're happening right now. So he could either fight for the vacant title. I don't know who against. I haven't looked at the rankings. Let's have a quick look, actually. What was it? WBO. Let's have a quick light heavyweight rankings. This is so much easier, by the way, having my laptop here. Normally I'm just guessing shit and getting it wrong all the time. But with this here, at least I can be right with what I'm saying. Let's have a look. All right, light heavyweight rankings. So Salamov and Maslov. And then Alvarez, Smith Jr., Kovalev, number 5, strange. Then Yard, number 6. So he's not even in the top. He's actually not even in the top 15. So I'm guessing he's done nothing for the WBO. So he's not going to go that route. So it would have to be the Bivol or BERCHELT route to get another world title shot. So it's not going to be easy. Yeah, not going to be easy at all. Oscar Valdez, I want to face Miguel Berchelt as soon as possible. It's not a good fight for you. It's not a good fight for you at all. I was extremely high on Oscar Valdez. This is why I always warn people about not getting over... No, Oscar Valdez, sorry, former world champion, don't get me wrong. But I just thought he was going to be something even more than that. But I don't know, he just takes too many punches, man. Ships way too many punches. This is what I always say to people, don't get overly excited about seeing these prospects knock over guys. Don't. You've got to wait until they step up and fight world level guys. There's such a big gap between even European and world level. The gap's massive. And I remember thinking Oscar Valdez was going to be something special. He could still do stuff at 130, don't get me wrong. He could even win a world title at 130. So he could be 2-weight world champion. But he's not going to be what I thought he was going to be, which is a pound for pounder. I thought he was going to be that. He's not going to be that. Good fighter though, but Miguel Berchelt is, yeah, it's not a good fight for him at all. Not at all. Berchelt's the best 130 pounder out there. Fact. And I think he might still happen, right? I don't think they're going to match him up, but Gervonta Davis would have beat Gervonta Davis for me. So it was this thing weird, like Gervonta Davis jumped up to 135, like he's cleaned up 130. And you haven't, right? There's some guys down there at 130 that happily want to fight you, right? So it'll be interesting to see if that fight does get made. But if it does get made right now, it's not a good fight for Oscar Valdez. Eubank Jr., I have plenty more opportunities to make a big statement. He does. Mainly because he lives the life as well. He lives the life. He hasn't been in... The George Groves fight was a bit punishing, right? He took a bit of punishment in that fight, but that's really it. And there are so many names out there he can fight 160 and 168. Right? So many. Big fights as well. We always talk about the 135 division being the best division. I would say 160 destroys it. Like, destroys it in terms of names in that division, especially if you bring back down Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. It's a frightening division. Obviously, Danny Jacobs has just left it, but he said he can make 160 again. I don't believe that that's possible, if you're honest with you. Once you've gone up, it's going to be difficult to come back down, especially as you get older. But say you do bring Canelo back down. So that's Canelo. GGG's still there, people. Don't rule him out. GGG. Who else am I missing? Billy Joe Saunders can come back down. Derevchenko. Chris Eubank Jr., Demetrius Andrade, Charlo. I'm missing people. I feel like I'm missing loads. Did I say Demetrius Andrade? I think I did, didn't I, right? David Lemieux that I just mentioned. It's a good division, you know. It's a good division between the veterans, world champions, experienced guys coming up. It's a good division. So just naming all those names I just mentioned, you can understand why Chris Eubank Jr. says he does have more opportunities to make a big statement. Can he get any of those fights, though? That is the question. Evander Holyfield, I could fight in any era of heavyweights. Yes, you can, sir. No doubt about it. Real deal could compete against any heavyweight. Any. Just any, right? He's that damn good. I think there's an ESPN documentary. Is it out already? 30 for 30. It's about Holyfield and Tyson. I saw a clip on Instagram where Mike Tyson had just beaten Spinks. And they interviewed Evander Holyfield. Very reminiscent of kind of what they're doing with The Last Dance. Very good. They interviewed Evander Holyfield at that time. And he was talking about Mike Tyson can be beat. It just looks fascinating to look back at that era. But yeah, Evander Holyfield, just an unbelievable fighter. Just unbelievable fighter. I think he had those wars with Lennox Lewis. He had those wars with Riddick Bowe. Had those wars with Mike Tyson. I mean, geez, beat Buster Douglas. When Buster Douglas was the world. You know, Buster Douglas, by the way, got paid $24 million for that fight against Evander Holyfield, which at the time was the highest any heavyweight or any boxer, I think, had been paid ever in the history. So he lost that fight in 1991, didn't fight again until 96. Obviously, was just enjoying that money. You do wonder, because obviously a lot's been said about Buster Douglas. People make jokes about it was a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. Go and watch that fight against Mike Tyson. It was a beautiful. The combination, the 4-punch combination to put Mike Tyson down was a thing of beauty. Obviously started with an uppercut, that uppercut, right? And then through uppercut, then through a right, left, and then a right. Every shot is perfect. And the right he lands when Mike Tyson is on the way down, Mike wasn't getting up from that. Well, he did get up, didn't he? But a bit late. What am I saying? Where am I going with this? Yeah, so Evander Holyfield can fight in any era. Sorry, people. Eddie Hearn. I see Joshua Pulev between September and November. Virtually impossible in the UK. Yes, that means it's not happening in the UK. Croatia, did reach out to stage the venue. So did Saudi Arabia. That fight is going to happen abroad, people. No doubt about it. Again, it comes down to gate receipts. And not just that, but I just don't think you can have Anthony Joshua fighting behind closed doors. I just don't think so. So that's a shame for UK fans. Obviously, that fight was going to happen at Tottenham's new stadium, which is a magnificent stadium. It would have been something special to see AJ fight there. 60,000 people. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. And AJ needs to fight. He needs to stay active. Hasn't fought since December. AJ's only had 2 fights in nearly 2 years. Yeah, so he needs to be active. So he has to fight. You could say AJ could just wait it out and fight in 2021 in the UK. But no, he can't. He has to have a fight in the interim. So they're going to go abroad with it. Again, you can't lose the gate receipts. AJ can't fight behind closed doors. I think Eddie Hearn will make sure that the fight is the same as sort of UK time, either an hour difference, so that they can sort of make sure they get as many pay-per-view buys as possible. You don't want to, for example, to put the fight on 3, 4 in the morning and then risk that pay-per-view buy being low. So yeah, it's a shame. Again, shame AJ's not fought here since September 2018 against Povetkin at Wembley Stadium. So He's an away fighter at the moment, people. Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, they're all bitches. Let's move on from that. It's just nonsense, isn't it, to be honest? A lot of social media and Twitter talk from these fighters, all three of them talk. It's just their youth, isn't it? Like Teofimo's what, 22? Devin Haney, they're all the same age, aren't they, as well? It's just the youth. Malignaggi, utterly ridiculous. A guy as good as White hasn't had heavyweight title shot. Yeah, it is when you consider some of the people that have had world title shots in the interim. So you've got people like Dominic Brazil's had a world title shot. Carlos Takam, but obviously because he came in as a late replacement for Pulev, had a world title shot. Molina has had a world title shot. You think of some of these names that have had world title shots, and then you can understand why it is utterly ridiculous. But let's not forget, there was an offer on the table. I don't know how genuine this offer was, but there was an offer on the table to fight AJ before AJ flew out to America and took on what was supposed to be Jarrell Miller, but then it ended up being Andy Ruiz. There was an offer. There was an issue with the rematch clause, but there was an offer, so he could have had that world title shot. He could have had it. But we all know the story about what's going on with the WBC. So yeah, that is ridiculous. Let's hope he gets his shot. Again, I don't think he's going to get it, right? I mean, he was supposed to have it before, what, February 2021? That ain't happening. That ain't happening at all. When I interviewed him, when did I interview him again? I think it was February, right? Probably. Yeah, I think when I interviewed him in February, he spoke a lot about the situation with the WBC. In fact, I'm gonna do something about that interview because there's a lot of stories in the lead up to the build up to it, the aftermath of it. So I might do a little video about that interview itself. Good interview, honestly. Dillian Whyte's a good guy. A good guy. Obviously, I know I was going harping on about the B sample, which, look, I'm going to do it, right? But just meeting him and sitting down and having a conversation with him and his manager, good guy. What's this? Charlo, I'm here to eat. If Rosario's in the way, he's getting trucked. Okay, that's Charlo talk, isn't it? Unification fight, bring it on. That's the fight, right? That's the fight. 154 pounds. Let's see it. You know, I don't know who I favour in that fight, by the way. I don't know who I favour in that fight. Charlo looked okay against Harrison. Didn't look kind of the explosive Charlo we're used to seeing. Harrison was kind of acting a bit cocky and got caught in that fight. Harrison kind of stuck to it. Could have won that fight again. So it'd be good to see what happens with Charlo versus Rosario. It'd be good to see Charlo win that fight, then go up to 160. Obviously, his brother's there, but it's not like they didn't fight in the same division before. It'd be good to see, but I think both Charlos need to get a move on. Did you see, I think there was a little, I don't know, it was like a 2-minute documentary, and I think it was showing this Charlo's house. Like, they're eating, you know. They are eating. Whatever Al Heyman's paying these guys under the table, boy, keep paying them because they're eating. Because his house looked absolutely incredible. And it made us thinking, what big fights have you had to like get that? I do understand that America is cheaper in terms of infrastructure compared to the UK, right? You're going to get more for your money. But his house looked just amazing. Like basketball court, massive swimming pool. It looked incredible, really did. All right, this might be the last one. David Haye explains that he never saw Mike Tyson overcome adversity to win. A few people say that. I don't know. I mean, yes and no, right? I say yes because, I mean, I remember watching those Mike Tyson fights against Donovan Razor Ruddock, and he had to dig deep to win those fights, you know. Obviously, the first fight was stopped controversially, and that's why there was a rematch. And that fight, the rematch went to points. I mean, that was a tough fight for Mike Tyson. We might think of adversity as in getting up off the canvas. So he didn't have to do that in those fights. But I'm telling you now, he had to dig deep in both of those fights, right? Tough fights. And even in the loss against Buster Douglas, so it wasn't a win, so maybe it doesn't apply with this one, but even in that fight where Mike Tyson was getting outboxed, right? Getting beaten up in that fight, you know, and then landed that peach of an uppercut to put Buster Douglas down. So that was, again, Mike Tyson having to dig deep. Yes, he went on to lose that fight, but he dug deep in that fight. I guess we're thinking of the fights like the, you know, Evander Holyfield loss, where, you know, like that, it would have been good to see him dig real deep in those fights and try and win. But look, Evander Holyfield's a top 10 heavyweight of all time. There's no shame in that. But I understand what David Haye is saying, which is why I say yes and no. But I kind of agree with him more than disagree with him. But again, I will say he did overcome a lot of adversity, maybe in different ways, to get the Razor Ruddock wins. Because again, they took a lot out of Mike Tyson. You know, I don't think we speak about those two fights enough. Razor Ruddock big and strong and hit Tyson hard a couple of times, and Tyson had to dig deep to get those wins. Is that it, people? I think that could be everything. If I missed any news, have a quick scroll up before we say goodbye. Yeah, I think that's it. Guys, have a safe one. Enjoy whatever you're doing today. I'm about to go for a quick jog and then finish up my bathroom. Yes, finish up my bathroom because we are pretty much done with that. Peace.